Hello, everybody. Good morning. Today we have 1 Kings 9. It's a fairly short chapter. We see in it that God appears to Solomon again. It's a second time. And then we go on and Solomon and Hiram exchange gifts. And then we talk about some other achievements. It talks about some other achievements that Solomon had achieved. What I want to talk about is this appearance, though, of God coming to Solomon the second time. And this one here is where God is about to do His word. He consecrates His word to Solomon again. He really just continues to pour on that foundation. He tells them, he says that if you continue to walk in integrity, continue to walk the way David walked, stay away from the other gods. He says, then I'll establish your throne and I will establish you. He says in verse 6, but if you or your sons at all turned from following me, down to 7, I will cut off Israel from the land which I gave them, and this house which I have consecrated for my name I will cast out of my sight. So, what God tells what God tells Solomon is that if you follow me, know me, love me, but if you turn away from me, I will turn away from you. This is what he's saying. And how do we apply that? How do we apply what he told Solomon to our lives today? What in the world does that mean to us? Well, what that means to me is that if I follow the Lord and I try to get to know Him and I try to do better, and we're going to have mistakes and we make mistakes. So I'm not talking about the little mistakes. And we try to know His heart and we live a life that fears Him. And we, as men, we try to lead our households to Him. Then He will be faithful. He will be faithful when we have those little mess ups. He will be faithful, even when we're not. And, because we live in a sinful world and we are sinful creatures, that sometimes things do happen. But if we decide to turn from Him, He will turn from us. This is what He's saying. And we have this thing in our culture today that is once saved, always saved. I don't believe that. Now, I don't believe the devil can take away your salvation, but I believe you can lose it. And if I'm using this as a basis for that, you'll say, but Donnie, this is the Old Testament. Jesus came. We have the Spirit of grace. We have this, we have that. And I'm telling you that the Spirit of grace is not here for your continual sin. The Spirit of grace is here for those little mistakes. The Spirit of grace is here for the sin that you don't even know you're committing. That's what the Spirit of grace is here for. And I'm going to come back at you with Hebrews. Let's read a little bit of Hebrews. We'll go into chapter 10. I'm going to read verse 26 and verse 29 to you. 26 says, for if we sin willfully, this is the New Testament. This is not the Old Testament law. This is New Testament. For if we sin willfully, after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sins. Verse 29, of how much worse punishment do you suppose will he be thought worthy who has trampled the Son of God underfoot, counted the blood of the covenant by which he was sacrificed a common thing, and insulted the Spirit of grace? Get that. You can insult the Spirit of grace. You can trample on, you can step on the Spirit of God. Now, in Luke, Jesus tells us that we are to trample on serpents and scorpions. We're not to trample on Him and the Spirit of grace. And those who believe that once saved, always saved, that's what they're doing when they go out and they sin, when they live a life that doesn't honor the Lord. They're trampling. They're stepping on Jesus. They're stepping on their own sacrifice for their sins. They're stepping on what the Lord has given us. They're stepping on the payment that God has given us. They're stepping on it. I don't believe in once saved, always saved. I believe once saved, the Lord says, walk out your salvation with fear and trembling. That means continue to seek after the Lord. And then he will know you. He says, when you come to him, the word you want to hear is, well done, my good and faithful servant. For those who live by that once saved, always saved, and live their lives as if God is not there, will hear the words, depart from me, I never knew you. It's all about Jesus. Get after him. Seek him. Read the word. Ask him daily, Lord, what do you have for me today? Lord, help me follow you today. Ask for forgiveness, even for the unknown sins. He is faithful. Are you? Have a super day, guys. I love you all.